Hello there and welcome to our channel. My name is Zelena.
And I'm Fotios, and this is the Game Court.
Today we're going through our top 30 and we are at number 10, and this video will cover number 10 to number 1.
Yes.
So let's go on with it.
It's the third video of our series. You can find links to the other two videos in the description below. And let's go to our number 10. So number 10 is Orleans, and it's a game that effectively is a back building game. Effectively, you build your cheats in a bag, then you draw these cheats from the bag, which are your
people,
workers,
yeah.
which are people, and you are placing the people on your board to do several actions in a very similar fashion as the Paladins of the West Kingdom, even if this game came first. And also you try to do some traveling around the board, try to build some buildings.
Your buildings,
your
your
building,
conquest.
And also you try to get more people to make your back more powerful and more efficient. You try to get some books which allow you to develop in your development track. It doesn't sound that exciting, really.
And thematically, I think it's not particularly integrated.
Correct. But it's, we really like this game. It's a very satisfying game. It's a very relaxing game. It's not the most complex of the games.
Very different.
Very different, yes. And I think it's one of Elena's favorites.
Yes, this is one of my favorite games.
Yes. We have also linked this game quite a lot with BTG beats and metal coins and everything because we really like this game.
Yes, why wouldn't we?
Yes, why wouldn't we? Yes. So this is our number 10, Orleans.
Right, so number 9, Maracaibo. Now, I think we had to discuss about this because in my personal top it was number 2. So I really like this game, and I cannot explain why I like this game so much, but I really like it. I think what I like the most about Maracaibo. Oh, let me go backwards a little bit. Maracaibo, 1 to 4 player game. Alexander Pfister. We do have other games from Alexander Pfister, but this is technically one of my favorite games that I would play anytime at any point with anybody. It does not matter. A Rondel game,
yes,
just like Great Western Trail, but this one was before it. You are basically an explorer in your little boatie, and you try to go from little city to city in the Caribbean islands.
Not like Great Western Trail, as I said before.
It will be hard to go with a horse to get cows in the Caribbean islands.
Yes.
So you go and you explore stuff, you do a bit of trading as well, of tobacco, sugar, stuff like that, and you collect other benefits from the cities or the little towns you go to. You go at war with whomever you represent, so you represent England, Spain and France.
Yes.
And you can obviously go at war with whomever you want to represent more. Obviously, the majority will give you more points at the end. But I think what I like most about this game is the cleverness that you can select an action based to what your opponent does, because you can go very fast through the track and completely ignore what your colleague does, your opponent does. Go very fast through it all because you want to slow him down, or you want to take a benefit before he does. I think it's so clever the way it's implemented that this is my personal number 2, but today is a number 9.
Yeah, it's the multi-use cards that I like about this game. You can use the cards in many different ways. You can use them to discard them for resources, or you can build them as buildings, and maybe some of them will give you benefits through the game, maybe some of them will give you points at the end of the game. It's a very strong game, very different game.
Equally,
quite complex,
though, you can go through so I think I don't know why I didn't mention it. I think I could probably talk about this game for an hour. The multi-use cards, the deck it's quite impressive, but you can go through the deck so easily that it doesn't really matter that the deck is very big. Like some games, it takes you ages to actually even open new cards, but this one you can go through them quite quick.
And there's another thing that there are these white cards and brown cards, and I don't remember which is which, but you use, let's say, all of the one deck and some of the other deck.
Yeah.
So every game is a bit different, kind of. So yes, it's a very interesting design by Alexander Pfister. Our number 9, Maracaibo. Our number 8 is Le Havre, another game by Uwe Rosberg, and this is one of the few games on this video that are quite punishing games. This is one of the first punishing games. So basically, worker placement. In the core, very simple. So you move your ship and you may just collect resources or you may do an action.
Yeah.
This is the
That's
two things
the
you
only
can do in
option
the
you
game.
have.
But you may buy buildings, you may build buildings, you may buy ships or build ships. There are so many different things you can do there. You can develop your engine to convert fish to smoked fish. You have to feed your people at the end of every round.
Every round.
A lot of feeding.
And it's every time after every round, which consists in I think 7 slots. So one round you have 4 actions and your opponent will have 3, and the next round it will be opposite.
That is if you play with 2 players, because
Yes.
if you play with 5 players, you might have just one action within the round. That's it.
We've only played it at 2.
Yes.
I don't think I want to experiment it at more. This game literally is the death of me. I absolutely love and hate this game at the same time. But I have such a strong connection with it, and I don't know why I torture myself with it all the time. It gives me so much satisfaction when it works, but it's literally hell on earth when it doesn't, at least for me. But I like a challenge, so I think this is an amazing game that will stay with us forever.
Yeah, I went to this board game cafe to try the game before we buy it, and when we tried it, Elena was not really satisfied about the play, but then she was discussing about the game for the next 3 days, basically.
And it's not my kind of thing to do, discuss about a game for so long. I mean, I normally make my mind up fairly quick.
Yes,
I'm the black for the white.
Yes.
Yeah, it stayed with me for a very long time, so we had to take in our collection, and now I squeeze my brain every single time I play this game, and I don't know why it gives me satisfaction, but it does.
But it can be also very punishing. If you don't manage to fulfill your plans, you may have to take loans, and in a game that I played with my friend, he had to take about 10 of these loans. Effectively, he was basically destroyed. But it's a very nice game, very fun game. I really enjoyed it. That's Le Havre, our number 8.
Number 7 is a game that we have acquired in our collection fairly recent. It was a Kickstarter that you have backed up, and we've been waiting for it for absolute ages, but you know how it is. This is Carnegie, and I don't know if I've ever heard of this guy.
It's the Troa guy, Javier George.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
There you go. My bad in that case. And that's a 1 to 4 player game that is fairly novel, I'd say.
Yes. Well, this is one of my favorite games. This was higher on my list compared to Elena's list.
It's another you compromise.
Yes, correct. How this game works, basically, you take an action and everybody else has to do the same action, and basically you have to identify an action that is good for you but not as good for other people. Yes.
Sometimes
basically.
you might take an action and it's not incredibly beneficial for you, but it's completely useless for other people, so you just do it, because sometimes you can exhaust actions as
Correct.
well.
And basically there are 4 actions in the game. There's R&D, there is human resources, there is management and construction. That's the 4 basic actions in the game. But every time you activate an action, a different region of the US will be activated basically, and you might retrieve some employees to get some income and so on and so forth. And once you have the action, you have the departments in your player board. So maybe
which is a kind of like your factory kind of.
Yeah, it's your factory, your organization. So you start with some initial departments, and then you may build more departments, and effectively the respective departments will be activated. So if you do R&D action, the R&D departments will be activated.
That's only if you have people that you deploy there. Otherwise, they don't
Correct.
get activated.
Exactly. And this is the clever part of the game, that you try to identify an action that is very good for you but not very beneficial for the other people. It's a completely open information game. No luck really involved here in this game. There's no cards drawn or dice rolled or anything like that. And you can see exactly openly whatever everybody is doing. You also have some network building over there.
I think that's the main element of the game, really. I mean, apart from the cleverness of the actions and the openness of the whole game, I think that's the main thing of the game, isn't it?
Some networking,
building industries in different cities within the US.
So you can expand your city and potentially link key cities that will give you points, but also there are donations.
Yeah, well, Carnegie, I think he was like a philanthropist.
So there's a donations aspect there to give you even more points at the end of the game. Very strong design. I think currently is in the top 200 of the BGG list, and I expect this will go much higher.
And can we just mention? Mansion. Can we
Mansion.
Can we mention? I think the production. I don't know whether our production,
yes.
but the production is pretty good in this game as well. The feel of absolutely everything is so nice.
Yes, it comes with game tray inserts. Very nice individual trays for each player. We also got metal cubes for the resource, for the goods, and also dual layer boards, as you say. Very high production, very good production, and also artwork by Ian O'Toole. So that's our number 7, Carnegie.
Number 6 on our list is Underwater Cities, and this is a game that we've not owned for quite a while now, and we literally just bought it because I think it really has a space in our collection.
But we have played it multiple times.
We played it multiple times before we bought it. This is a Vladimir Suki or Suchi, I'm really sorry, published by Delicious Games, 1 to 4 players. It does have a variant for 2 players.
Yes, one side of the board is 2 players.
It does give you a different experience. We played it at lower count, we played it at bigger count. It's a game that plays well regardless. It's a different game than what we've played so far. I think it's worker placement game.
Worker placement, mainly. Yes. And engine building as well.
Engine building as well. Again, it's fairly easy to go through the cards. You can build your engine very well. You are building a city underwater, as it says on the tin. You have your little board where you need to build cities that are represented by domes. You have to build little tunnels to connect cities from one city to another. A city is only resourceful if you build little factories around it. And at that point they produce. You have a few rounds where you build your city, and then you have a production round after a few rounds, and this happens a few times a game. And I think the one with the best city at the end wins the game. Yeah,
it feels very resourceful when you have this income phase, where the production phase basically. It feels that you are so rich, you have so many resources, credits and biomatter,
it's all going at
steel
you,
plant, how it's called. Yes. And it's very resourceful. It feels very satisfying. And if you like games such as Terraforming Mars or Ark Nova, I really suggest that you give this a try. For me, personally, it's a much better game than Terraforming Mars, because also when it comes to the engine building element, it takes the cards and it separates them in 3 phases basically. So you don't have a huge deck of cards, and then it's very hard to utilize them.
Or you don't end up with level 3 cards at the beginning, and then you're stuck with cards and you're like, I have no engine to build because I have nothing to build.
So in Terraforming Mars, for instance, you may have a card in the beginning that requires that level of oxygen, which is basically useful only for the end of the game, and the only thing you can do is just discard it for some money. Whereas here, the cards are split in 3 different ages, 3 different phases, and and effectively the game develops by itself slowly, in a very, very smart way.
So this is number city?
Number city. Number 6.
Number 6.
Underwater Cities. Number 5 is a game that we love, but we don't own. It's called Feudum. And it's a game that plays, I want to say 1 to 5 players, but I think there's an expansion that goes up to 6 players. It's a very, very beautiful game. Basically, what we do in this game, everybody selects some action cards at every round, and then basically 4 cards or maybe sometimes 5 cards, and then basically we reveal the cards, and one by one we activate a card. It's not like programming, because you can later on decide the order
which way you want to go.
This will be activated. But this game has so many things going on there. It's a very complex game. It's, I think, maybe the most complex game you have ever tried, I would say. You have some guilds that you try to have influence on the guilds, so you can do the guild's actions afterwards, basically.
And you can cascade technically perks from one guild to another.
Yes,
again, it depends on how many you actually have influence over, depends how much influence you have over them. There's quite a lot of politics going on in that game as well.
It has this push and pull mechanic. Everything is interconnected between them, this circular economy there in the guilds. You also have the map where you try to go as wide as you can. Yes, you have to have influence on the map, on different locations, on build towns, castles, and so on and so
forth. And feudums, obviously, that's the name.
It's It's a very, very interesting game.
You can go at war with your neighbors, your opponents.
I haven't tried this many times. You can defend, of course. There's a card that you can defend or a card that you can attack.
But we did know at the end, and it ended up that somebody attacked somebody else, and then you make it's all this happening at the same time, and then everybody goes for that person to attack them. So it can be with you or against you, really.
I think I have played this game this year maybe 5 or 6 times, and I only won once. But regardless, every time I play this game is so satisfying and so fulfilling.
It's so well intertwined, the mechanics with the theme. I think it works very well that even if you still have no idea what's going on in the game, eventually it comes so natural that you figure out what you need to do next. So I think focusing on little details doesn't really matter, but I think the game does play very well given how well is implemented. Now,
what do we have in our collection? Basically 2 reasons. One reason, I think that this game will shine more with 3 or 4 or 5 players, not with 2 players. Because 2 players, you have a big map and potentially you can go in different directions and not really interact with each other. And the other thing is that this game comes with so many expansions, and one of our friends has everything basically for the game, and it comes with very nice miniatures and this and that, very nice fan-made components basically. And we feel like we don't need to own it because he has everything. We play with his copy and is very satisfied regardless. So that's our number 5.
Feudum. Number 4 in our collection is Kanban, and we only own the first edition. Is a game by Vital Lacerda. I think this is the only game that we actually own at the moment. Weather Machine is on the way, so that will be our second game in our collection. We've played a few games from him, but I think this is the only one that actually stayed in our collection and we're going to keep for a while. We've tried the second edition as well, but
the Kanban EV.
Yeah, there's very minimal difference between one and the other, and I think this does just as well. 1 to 4 player game, quite complex. What you do is you basically are in a car sorry, Jesus. Let me try again. So basically, you are in a car factory and you try to build cars, you try to get designs. So you have different departments where you try to get designs, and then you need to get parts for that car, and then you need to go to the production line and produce the cars with the things that you got. Then you have to go and actually collect the cards, put them on your board, depends on how many different cars you have. They give different benefits.
Test them.
Test the cars, and then obviously at the end of the round you have a meeting on a board where you can get your chairs so you can speak in the meeting. The more chairs you have, the more opportunities you have to speak in the meeting, and then you discuss matters. You have different contracts to discuss about. You have your pet contract as well, and
projects,
and that will give you more points. And then you have Sandra on your head.
Sandra
she follows you absolutely everywhere.
Sandra is your boss.
And she can be a good boss or she can be a bad boss. And we've tried with the bad boss maybe once.
Yes.
And I feel it's a bit punishing to start with. What is it? Minus 15 points or something like that? Plus 15, so you get minus every time?
Yes.
And
yes.
No, life is hard anyway. I don't need Sandra to harass me every time she comes over. So we play with the good Sandra.
So basically, there are, I think, 6 different departments that you can do actually. Maybe 5, maybe 6. I think I would say there are 6.
I can tell you in a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5 different ones you can do actions. And in each department, you go for training, certification, and so on and so forth. And basic Sandra will evaluate the people with the least certification, basically, or will reward the person with the best certification if it is the good Sandra. Very nice game and
very well integrated. Easy integrated.
Yes, it's a very heavy, complex game, but because it's so well integrated, it's very easy to grasp. Work placement again in the heart. Very nice game. Again, open information in the most part, apart from the projects that we're going to put forward at the meetings. But otherwise, yes, a very, very strong design for us. That's Kanban, our number 4. Our number 3 is Imperial Steam, a game by Alexander whoever, possibly.
Sorry for the misspelling and the wrong sayings.
So basically, it is southern railways of Austria in the 18th century, and basically you're trying to develop the Austrian railway. You start from Vienna, and the objective is to go down to south to Trieste, basically. And again, this is one of the another punishing game for us. Basically, money in this game is very tight.
Very tight is an understatement.
Unless it becomes non-tight. And when you figure it out, and then you start delivering your goods and getting some money and potentially having more income from different activities, then you start flying. But at some point you'll be like, oh my god, what am I doing now? I only have 10 guildens left, what am I going to do?
I have a feeling that we're probably playing a different game, because my impression of this game is not that. This game doesn't make you any richer. I'm not sure what flying you're talking about. I never fly. I always crawl on my knees and on my elbows. It's always very hard to do anything in this game, and it always feels like, the world is against you. A bit like the Havre, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's so satisfying because you have a quest. And you have to get to Trieste. And you have to get to Trieste before your opponent does.
Yes. And in this game you have your workers, and you may use your workers to build, to lay track basically, or you may not use them and they will become more powerful by training per se over the rounds. As Elena said, you need to go to Trieste and you get some of these contracts, and if somebody goes to Trieste, then all of the contracts are going to be evaluated. Whereas if nobody managed to go to Trieste by the end of the round, all the contracts are useless, basically. There's a lot of interaction here in player count, between the players. I think it plays very well with 2, 3, or 4. There are different dice for the cities for different player counts, so it scales pretty well, at least for our liking. Yeah, this is Imperial Steam, our number 3.
Right, number 2 is Gaia Project. It's made by the same people that made Terra Mystica. It is published by the same people that published Imperial Steam. It is a very complex game. You are technically trying to populate little planets throughout the universe, and you're trying to Gaia form. I cannot say terraform. So it's going to be Gaia form. You're going to try to transform different planets into something that's livable, and then you can put your stamp on. You're going to make your
empire.
No, what's the word I'm looking for? Let me think.
Yes, you're trying to build mines, which are going to develop to trading stations, which are going to develop to research labs, and so on and so forth. So there is this evolution that's happening. It's an asymmetric game as well, very highly asymmetric game. The game comes with 7 double-sided characters, so you have 14 different options to select from, and or maybe get one at random, basically. And you have to play with the strengths of your function, otherwise you're not going to
do anything in the game.
Yeah, it's a colonization game. Again, open information, no luck involved, and you have these tracks that you have to develop. If you want to go further, if you want to be able to build further, or if you want to terraform with less resources, or if you want to, let's say, be able to get better income. There are several tracks there. Each of the 6 rounds comes with several different scoring objectives.
Yeah.
And you also have 2 end-of-game scoring objectives. Very, very strong game. Plays well with 2, plays well with 3, with 4. Again, the game, the board game, how many tiles you put as the space differs based on the player count. Yes. What else? What did I forget?
I don't think you forgot anything. I think it's a very sound game. I think the fact that it has asymmetric powers, it's very interesting. And I think the more you play with their powers, the better the outcome of the game, the better the game and outcome of it will have. Maybe try a bit of English. And all in all, it's just very satisfactory, really.
And I think it's one of the few space theme games out of that collection, I would say.
But it's a well-deserved number 2.
Yes, very well-deserved number 2, Gaia Project.
Righty, finally at number 1, and it might be a bit of a sin for some people that we're presenting both games, but we do have both, and we both enjoy them almost
Not
just
equally.
as much. But I think we should probably present them both because they are. It's hard to decide to leave one out and put the other one. There's no way we can do that.
I think it will only be fair to say that we have Brass Birmingham closer to our hearts because it's the first one that we played. We also enjoy Brass Lancashire. I think this might be our way to go usually.
Yes.
But both of them are super amazing games. Industry, manufacturing, networking, again, canal boats,
Railway.
tracks. A Martin Wallace game as well, both of them, of course. Basically, in this game, you have to spend cards to do different actions, and when you want to build something in a particular location, you have to spend that card on a particular location, or maybe if that location is already in your network, maybe spend an industry card to build that location.
So you basically build industries, you build coal and iron to sell to the market, get some money, build your connection around whether it's in the first era on the canals, or in the second era, or on the train tracks. It's a very well implemented game, and it has quite a lot of take that, and it's quite...
Who stole my beer?
Who stole my beer? Do I want to build a canal now here and then open the market to my opponent? I don't want to do that, so might as well keep it for later. Do I want to spend less money? Because whoever spends less money in the round, then they will go first next round. So you have to decide if you want to spend the same money, less money, more money. Do I want to go, because if you link it with let's say you're the second player and you spend less money, then you technically link two actions together. So that will give you a significant amount of actions compared to your opponent, which has quite a gap in the middle. So there are so many things of it's so clever how you're trying to be sneaky against your opponent, because technically, apart from your hands in your card, the cards in your hands, apart from that, everything is open, so you know how much money your opponent has. You can see
where they're going.
You can see basically everything apart from the cards. So you always have to try to be a few steps ahead of them without showing it, which is quite clever.
And building different industries is quite important, and it will give you points, and basically will allow you to do better stuff, but will also allow the other player to do better stuff, because if you put coal out there, maybe the other player will utilize this coal. But also networking is extremely powerful in this game.
Yeah.
And there might be turns in the second era of the game, the train era, that you take your two actions and you build two double railways, and then effectively you expand half of the board in just one round.
And then everybody hates you, obviously.
But both of them are super amazing games.
We always play them with a lot of love and a lot of excitement. It's always exciting to play them. We don't play them as many times as we used to play them before, because we played them so many times. But they're always very good games to play, and hands down, this is definitely my number one. Yeah,
for me too. Brass Birmingham, the number one. A bit further down, Brass Lancashire, but both very, very solid.
Nonetheless, yes.
So that's our number one, Brass Birmingham. So that was our top 10 to top 1, the third part of our top 30 games series. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that some of you are enjoying the same game as us, but if you know other games that potentially we would like, we would be very glad to hear from you in the comments, potentially. So usually we do enjoy games around industry and manufacturing,
economic
games, yes. But generally speaking, we attempt to try many different games to see what's what, and we like thematic games, nice integration.
Yeah.
Yes, and we also like to try different games that give a different aspect.
Mainly go for heavier games rather than... We do have a lot of other games like Jaipur. Jaipur is one of my favorite games. I love Jaipur at any point of the day. Yes. But that's just a relaxation game. If I want to get myself involved, we normally go for a heavier game. I'd much rather spend 2-3 hours into a heavy game than spend 2 hours in playing 10 simple games. I think it's just a matter of preference, really.
Yes. And we do enjoy other games, simple games. With our coffee, for instance, we enjoy an Azul with our coffee.
Or Splendor Duel.
Yes. But we're mostly inclined towards playing a big, heavy game rather than a smaller game, I would say.
Well, if anything, you can let us know if you have any ideas of any other games that might suit us and you like and enjoy very much as well. Thank you very much for watching.
Until next time.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.